Now, before moving on, I want to show you how to look at other stocks. At the moment, we just looked at the Anglo-American. So there's a very simple instruction. You just push the Enter key on your keyboard. If you push your Enter key, what happens is, whatever you have in the window above called the Explore window, we've got a bunch of lists which come with the software. One Darren uses a lot is the SP500 STK, which is a list of the S&P 500 in alphabetical order. So it's A, L, etc., all in alphabetical order. Now this is the time when I can show you how actually using the data on your PC can be a lot quicker than having a web-based product where things are not always where the data is not always available for you. So, oops, let me get myself into. Yeah, I think my mouse is on strike. Right, that's what I wanted to do. So we can look at one chart, but what Darren does, he very quickly flips between charts, comparing and looking for opportunities. And he's able to do that because he's got a very trained eye. And that's what really we're all trying to learn, to have that trained eye. But this is where Winway helps in that process. If you look, I can go to the next stock and the next one, and I can go quicker like that, and go as quick as possible so that the last stock you're looking at doesn't disappear from your eye's view before the next one appears in your eye. So you can scan through and look for a particular pattern and very easily spot it. Now, when you're having to wait for the World Wide Web to update a particular chart each time you move, then it's too slow and you can't see it. Other products get around that by saying, oh, we can put 12, 20, an infinite number of stocks on your screen at any one time so you can see them all. But of course, you just can't. For a start, the more there are on your screen, the smaller the chart gets, the more difficult it is to view. But the other thing is, the more stocks there are, you have to move your eyes across the screen, up and down the screen, to compare them. And when your eye's moving, you can't really see and compare what you're looking at. So the best way to view stocks, and the professionals will tell you this when they're flipping through, is to keep your eyes focused on the middle of the screen and just go through looking for those stocks. Now, this is what Darren's teaching you to do, but I don't want to stop you from doing that, because you have to learn the basics before you move on and use the sophisticated shortcuts, if you like, to finding things. I said before, the software was all about analyzing stocks that you're looking for and getting the system to do it for you. So I'm going to explain a bit later how you can get the system to do it for you without you having to tap through and through all of the stocks, all of the 2,500 stocks which come with the system out of the box. But nevertheless, we'll carry on with charts because there's more I want to show you on this. So there are two views, if you like. By pressing my Enter key, I can get back to, there we go. By pressing my Enter key, I can get back to what we call the barometer view, where we can see that particular stock and the barometer of what's going on that stock. And by the way, these indicators here, the 10-day, 20, 40, this box on the left gives you a barometer indicator of how that indicator is moving. So full red means that indicator is moving downwards. I mean, it's hardly a surprise when you look at the chart. Sometimes it's not quite as obvious as that. But it will tell you today where that indicator is headed. Now, if you move back in time, we'll start to see a time when it wasn't all like that, when it wasn't all down, when it was up. So here the market is going up, and it's showing that it's up yesterday and it's up continue to be up today. When you see a red arrow, it means it was green, but it's just turned red today. So it's on the turn down. And as we move forward, more and more are on the turn today. And then after they've been down for a day, red shows it was down and it's staying down. So it shows you how it's moving down. Equally, you get a green to show that it's moving up. We'll have to go back a bit before we can see that. So yeah, here. So there it was red, and we can start to see that's just turned green, and they're turning green, and now they're fully green as yesterday was green, today's green. They're all green until they flip over. So you can see how a stock is moving, the barometer, the feel of what that stock is doing and what the indicators are showing you for that stock for that day. So that's the barometer view, and here is the list view. Now the list view, as I explained, is a view of all the stocks that are in these lists. If I wanted to look at the UK 350, I click on that and I can see the whole of the UK 350, again in alphabetical order. Now equally, I can look at UK All, and UK All is a list which is set into groups and sectors. So there's the UK Master, which is basically everything in the UK. And if you look here, we can see that we can get a chart for all of the UK stocks. Or you could just look at UK Capital Goods and get a chart for UK Capital Goods. And that capital goods is a sector. And within the sector, you've got two groups. One is the UK Aerospace and Defence. Thank you for coming to my help here. And the other is the Industrial Engineering group, the capital goods sector. So it's set out like that, and you can move between the groups, between the sectors, between the groups, or right down to the stocks. So the stocks in the UK Industrial Engineering are BOY Bodycoat, Hill & Smith Holdings, etc., IMI, etc. So these are the individual companies within the groups and sectors. So as I said, it's very useful to have stocks in groups and sectors, because as we discussed before, stocks do tend to move within the group that they're in, and groups do tend to move within the sector that they're in, and sectors equally move within the index that they're in or market that they're in. So there's a correlation there between the market, the sectors, the groups and the stocks within them, that you can minimize your risk of investing by keeping, once you've discovered and decided which group you're going to invest in, to invest in several stocks in that group rather than just one stock and hope that it follows the group. So those are provided for you for the UK and also for the S&P 500. That is also separated into groups, sectors and groups within the sector. There are obviously a lot more in the S&P 500, say a lot more, there's 500 of them, there's 350 in the UK 350. Right, so these are lists, and you can look at the list, you can look at the Dow 30, and that's obviously what it is, the Dow Jones index of the 30 top stocks, and they're all there. But more and more you want to build your own lists. So how you do that is quite simply, and I'll show you. You can, by the way, as you can see, I'm closing down stocks all the time. As I'm opening them, you can keep opening stocks, or you can close them down each time. I can change my system so that when I add a stock, I can replace the current one. So if I want to put whatever, the stock A in, that replaces the current one. So that Apple Computers now changed to Agilent Technologies, which is A, or chart ticker, or I can put a new chart in, which means it will add it to it. So now if I want to look at Apple, you type in AAPL and that will appear alongside it. Now, if you want, you can keep going and you can have a dozen of those windows open, but as I was saying before, less and less benefit the more windows you've got open. What we concentrate on is building lists rather than lots of stocks on the screen. We build lists so that in those lists we can quickly go through the lists, look at the center of the screen and compare all those stocks in that list very easily. So how do I produce a list? I mean, everyone calls it a different thing. We can call it a watch list, a tag list. That's the nomenclature we use in Winway to have a tag list. So you can tag a stock and put it into a list. And I'll demonstrate how that's done. The first thing to do is to create a tag list. And surprisingly, there's a menu item up here called tag list. So I can set a tag list and we can give it a name. We can grab an old one. So these are the current ones that come with the product. So you can always add a stock to any of the lists that come with a product by creating a tag list with them in. So we can add to them. Or normally, we would put a new tag list in. So I click on new and I'll call it new one. And OK. And now I've set up a current tag list, which is called new one. But at the bottom of the screen is a notification area in Winway. And at the bottom, it will show which tag list is currently active. So you know whenever you tag a stock where it's going, and that will show at the bottom. So we've set that as the tag list. Now when we set new one as a tag list, as I said, it should show at the bottom of your screen. Those that have got the system working will be able to see it because you won't have my taskbar down there. But those that don't, it is down there. And you'll know that there's a tag list set because up here we've got add to tag list. This button becomes live. It looks like a luggage tag, and that's the icon that's used to add as a tag list. So if I want to add ACN to that tag list, I just click on the icon. Now, because I've got the tag list confirmed here, this pops up and says, yes, I want it tagged there. The current tag list is new one, so ACN will be tagged to new one. And you can also see that at the bottom. When you get going, you'll get to realize it's much easier to not confirm the tag list because you know it's going to happen. And so if I want to add the next one now, I want to add ABT. When I click on tag list, it just tags it. And it shows that it has been tagged because it now says remove from tag list. So the ABT must be tagged. So if I clicked on that, it would remove it from that tag list. So it's a quicker way of adding to a tag list. So I'll go through now and add a few stocks to the tag list, like that. Like that. And like that. So I've got a few stocks I've added to my tag list. As Darren would do, you'd go through the SP500 and say, yeah, let's have a look at that one, let's have a look at that one, let's have a look at that one. And he would be tagging them to a tag list. Now, how do we look at that tag list? Well, the answer is it's a list that appears in the Explore window for our use everywhere. So here we'll have it, and here's our new one. We click on that new one. Here's now is the name of the list and the stocks which I just tagged to that list.